All right, we are here at XRP Las Vegas. Joining me today, of course, is Matt Hougan, coming in from Bitwise. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Matt, first time our in-person interview.
That's right,
so that's
yeah.
good. Let's get into a little bit about what's happening with Bitwise right now.
Yeah, so the market is unlocking in two major ways for Bitwise. Remember, Bitwise serves a lot of institutional and professional investors. So the dual unlocks are, those platforms are getting more interested and more open in letting their wealth advisors and wealthy investors access crypto, at the same time that the SEC is broadening the window of what it will allow in ETFs. So it's a very exciting time for Bitwise, because that means we can build the products that people want and help them access it. So we do these surveys of institutions every year, and we ask, what's preventing you from allocating to crypto? It's not the volatility, it's not environmental concerns, it's not any of the FUD questions. It's always been regulatory uncertainty, because the last thing these people want is a regulator knocking on their door and asking them questions about why you did this or why you did that. They need the regulatory green light. So the approval of ETFs specifically provided a lot of that regulatory clarity, and now that the SEC is hopefully allowing more and more ETFs, it's just opening it up significantly every day.
With the Genius Act going through, most likely will happen maybe this week. How quickly will we start to see US dollars moving in and on chain so it can start deploying?
Oh, I think it's going to be very fast. I mean, the US Treasury, which is not known for outlandish predictions, thinks stablecoin AUM will go from 250 billion today to $2+ trillion within the next few years. I think they may be understated, but they're predicting a 10x. And that means critically that people are going to be using crypto in their day-to-day lives in the next couple of years. There's always been this criticism of crypto. When are we going to see the real world impact? The answer to that is in the next few months. We're going to start seeing stablecoins penetrate regular daily use. You're going to start feeling it in the next couple of months. I heard Vlad Tenev, CEO of Robinhood, the other day. He's using stablecoins to do collateral settlement on the weekends, right? I actually think there's going to be a big B2B move and a big international move. Look, I think it's going to get to the consumer. I think in a few years, we may be buying goods on Amazon with stablecoins and getting a 1 or 2% discount. But I actually think businesses are going to be the first ones to pick them up. If we're talking about paying an extra 2% when we go to buy a coffee, that's like, what is it, 20, 30 cents, sort of whatever. If you're moving trillions of dollars, you better believe that 2% matters. So I think it's going to be B2B first, B2C sooner than you think, but B2C will still be, a year or two away in the US, but you're going to see the B2B impacts, I think, pretty immediately.
Obviously, ETFs have kind of been the deployment mechanism for most crypto-friendly investors. They're saying, okay, I want access. I'm going to go to an ETF right now. Next up is going to be these next layer of ETFs coming through, XRP, Solana, et cetera. How close do you think we are on seeing those really?
I can't speak on any specific filing because, of course, we have filings live at the SEC, but I think we're making progress. You have all the indications that we're on track. What do I mean by that? We're starting to see regulated futures trade. We're starting to see the SEC consider more innovative things. We're getting to the point in the timeline where the SEC has to say yes or no. So I'm hopeful we'll see major unlocks. And I will say this, when I talk to institutional investors, they're excited to look beyond Bitcoin. Many of them have exposure to Bitcoin, and they're happy about that. It's a great hedge against fiat debasement. It's a great hedge against debt and deficits. But what else can blockchains do? They can do amazing things on stablecoins, tokenization, etc. And that means broadening your exposure. So I'm hopeful we'll get there this year from the SEC's perspective. And I think the institutional demand will be there for these other non-Bitcoin exposures, because these are markets that people are very excited about.
Do you think there's anything that could hold this back?
Well, Washington can always fumble it at the 1 yard line. I mean, how many times have we seen that? So I'm very optimistic about the stablecoin bill, but it's not signed into law yet. That would be a significant setback. You could see the SEC be more conservative. Again, I'm very optimistic. I think the data is there. I think the rationale is there. But I've definitely learned over the years, Paul, you can't trust Washington until it's done. So I'm keeping a hawk eye on Washington to make sure they stay on the path of doing the right thing for investors and the right thing for America. I think they will, but let's prove it before we celebrate.
Do you feel like maybe the market has desensitized away from tariffs?
I think two things are happening. One, I think it's desensitized away from tariffs. We realize the world's not going to end.
Yeah.
There will be tariffs, they'll be varying in size, and we'll continue to live our day-to-day lives, right? I also think, to an extent, people are looking at crypto actually as this source of stability.
Yeah, kind of an hedge.
If you think of, do you want to loan government money for the next 30 years, right?
Yep.
That seems a little crazy. We see these deficits spiraling to infinity. Crypto is just doing its thing. So I think it is decoupling a little bit, and I think people are calming down. That yes, the world is changing, but it's not, it's not completely changing.
How big of a role do you think China's going to play in digital assets?
I think it's sort of up to them. If they want to be a closed ecosystem that's oppressive to their people and insists on surveillance and doesn't embrace these decentralized, freedom-driving assets that crypto are, then they're not going to play a role at all. They could wall themselves off. If they open up, which they have in the past, they've been on again, off again, then they could play a major role. I think it's really up to them. I don't know, which side of the spectrum they'll fall on. I'm not a China expert, but it's up to them. Right now, it looks like not that big a role.
Matt Hougan, always love having you on the show. So
thanks for having
coming
me
in today.
Yeah, appreciate it.